G'day everyone, my name is Adelaide and I'm really privileged to be here with you today to talk about all things entrepreneurship. Unfortunately, Keegan was unable to make it. We will have at least for the next 20 minutes. So thank you very much. I know it's been a long morning already, but I'll skim through some of the opportunities that we have available through our ecopreneurship programming, which certainly supports all graduate students across all schools at Stanford. We've been replicating a lot of our programs based on what has been existing within the GSV, but courtesy of the ecopreneurship and our donor, we've been able to extend those offerings to the broader ecosystem at Stanford, and I'll cover on that. So the ecopreneurship programs, we have our dream team. So you be and we also have Stephanos from the GSV, Keegan Corp, myself, Mandy Chang, who looks after Venture Studio, and then we have Jose, who looks after case writing and supporting faculty in case writing and providing studies in classes. So a little bit of a background, what can we do? So essentially, at its absolute core, help students navigate courses, fellowships, clubs, etc., that can help you in your journey. We do this in 4 ways. We help you discover entrepreneurial opportunities. We help you evaluate entrepreneurial opportunities. We help you then accelerate those opportunities as well. And in the process, enriching and helping you build your entrepreneurial skills. So one of the things that we identified really quickly in establishing this program, we're now just finishing our 2nd year of programming. When we commenced, it was, what do students need if you want to be in sustainability and you want to explore entrepreneurship? And it was helping just navigate all of those systems. There's a reason why there's so many speakers talking to you. Within Stanford, there is an ecosystem of entrepreneurship in itself. I know in the previous session, they did touch on some of the resources. The number 1 tip I would give to anyone coming to Stanford interested in entrepreneurship, to go to the SEN website. So it's SEN. So SEN is an acronym, which is Stanford Entrepreneurial Network. On that website, it lists over 30 different pathways and programs available. A number of them includes different functions within different schools. It also includes different opportunities and student-led groups as well. But that is the number 1 central place to look with entrepreneurship within the Stanford community. That would be my number 1, and then you can help navigate through that. Where does ecopreneurship land? So ecopreneurship, we do have our own website as well. For you. So our core is to help the next generation of sustainability entrepreneurs, hopefully some of you in the room, to get out there and launch ideas, whether that be for-profit or non-for-profit as well. And we help faculty in that process as well, and I'll touch a little bit on that shortly. But the greatest tip that I want to share with you, how many here are like, just raise your hand if you're like first year, like you're just starting your journey? Great, that was my understanding. I just wanted to confirm that was the case. So on the ecopreneurship Stanford website, we have the resource landscape. So as I touched on, we've mapped things based on these 4 elements, whether it's enrich, discover, evaluate, or accelerate. So depending on where you are in your journey and what you're looking to do, you can filter different options available for you. So this particular website maps all different types of resources, from courses, fellowships, internships and grants, clubs, and then other resources that may be available as well. So if you're thinking, I have an idea I want to explore and I want to incorporate that in my learning pathway here at Stanford, start with course. Are you an undergrad? Are you a master's student? Are you a PhD student? You can filter this based on the student's class you are and where you are at your journey. And then it will filter through. And then it may be just you're wanting to discover and identify new opportunities. And from here, you can see just on those filters alone, there's still 3 pages worth of options available. But that really just helps prune it down for you. So you've got classes, you have programs, which is our co-curricular, which I'll talk about in a bit more detail there. But in our website, there's a lot of work mapping this. but this is a really great tool to help you discover and start thinking about how you want to utilize your time here at Stanford. So within my role of co-curricular, the term co-curricular is anything outside of the classroom, outside of a formal academic setting. So you don't have to worry about your GPA and classes and assessment. But it does mean with co-curricular activities that it's happening outside the academic calendar. For us, we want to ensure that while you are here, number one priority still remains your classes and your attendance and turning up there. So even our information sessions are deliberately scheduled outside of class times as well. So we're very mindful of helping you navigate your journey and making the right class choices. But outside of class, there's still so many opportunities, and that's where these co-curricular programs come into place. As I touched on, we're very new in our programming within ecopreneurship, but what has allowed us to really just hit the ground running is that we have replicated existing programs that have been delivered for over 10 years here at Stanford. We've just simply put an eco stamp on it and made a point that it's open to ventures and ideas with sustainability, environmental impact as its primary business driver. So first of all, we have EcoSIP, we have EcoSay, we have SIF Eco. Yes, there is going to have acronyms coming out at you left, right, and center. So please get used to that and as part of your life here at Stanford. And then we also have Venture Studio. So the EcoSIP program, so our Entrepreneurial Summer Internship program, is designed to help you if you're a graduate student and you're returning in the fall or the winter quarter. So this is ideal at the end of your first year and in that summer in between. So we've just had some students complete that now. And that's where you will intern with an early stage sustainability venture. You can do that here in the US. You may want to do that abroad. That's up to you. We've found historically GSB students, 70% fell for the venture and where they will actually internship. So if you are keen to get into the battery space, you may intentionally source and identify a battery early stage venture, and you may approach them. Hi, my name's Jo. I'm from Stanford. I love what you're doing. I'd love the opportunity to discuss potentially interning with you over the summer. And we support you with resources to do those reach outs and how to have those conversations. And then you can strike up a conversation to potentially intern with that venture. And that's a great way to kind of find an opportunity to understand, one, is this a market? Is this the vehicle that this industry, is that how you want to have impact through sustainability? And also, is working in an early stage venture success for you? Is that what you want to do? In our first year, we had a couple of students. We had 10 students go through that program, and we had 2 at the end realize entrepreneurship in the early stage was not for them. One preferred the idea of working in a corporate with a lot more structure. Another person that realized their vehicle for impact they feel is government. And through that experience, they had a great opportunity. So for us, whether entrepreneurship is the path you want to go, yes or no at the end, it's still success if it allows you to have more confidence about what is the next career pathway for you. So that's our EcoSIP program. Essentially, we help offset and we provide you a stipend to help offset the funds that an early stage venture may not be able to provide traditionally. So we ensure that you kind of match your funding up to $1,550 a week. So the ideal is that the venture in the early stage will give you $1,000 a week, and then we'll top up to $550 just to make sure you've got that summer. It goes for 8 to 10 weeks, and it is full time. And there's a bit of criteria. We'll have an information session for this in January. And we're starting to reach out to early stage ventures now just to capture interest. So as December comes, we can start getting a list of potential opportunities. So we'll have a website listed with internship opportunities that are eligible and meet this program. But if you're interested, you can also go and self-source that opportunity too. So this summer we had Alan. Alan actually interned with Vern, which is a spin out from Stanford. For him, he learned that the positives of being in an early stage company. So the importance of culture and how he felt he could go in there as a generalist, and just reconfirm for him that early stage in sustainability is definitely the path for him. For him, the biggest thing was people. He loved being on site and actually interacting with people. And his advice to students like yourself was to make sure if you're to choose an internship that the company you choose is making sure they're giving back and providing you with impactful work and not just throwing you a project and letting you just kind of sink or swim. Another program is our Eco Say. So this is also delivered over the summer. This one, it is quite a competitive process. We provide 10 places, but you can apply as a team. So a maximum of 2 people can receive a stipend per team. Each week you get one-on-one coaching with an innovation coach. We have office hours. We run a number of workshops over the summer. You get access to experiment funds. We have social gatherings, and this is delivered in parallel with the Boda Chain program, which some of you may be aware of. And then there's also the IDA program, which is for social impact. Applications are due in February, and they will open. We're hoping to open this in December this year to give people the opportunity to work on it over the holiday period. We will also have faculty projects available too, and that's where you may not have your own venture idea to work on over the summer, but we can pair you with what does commercializing faculty research look like. So you still get to go through that innovation process. You still get to explore what does the business model and validation and talking to potential customers look like, but doing that with research. So this summer, we had someone do that. He did this with a faculty extension project. At the start of the summer, he started prototyping. In terms of the journey, he got through to the test phase. For him, what was the biggest highlight? So was building a network of industry contacts and potential partners, including major players at Volkswagen and GM, that could ultimately look at commercializing their technology. He went to a number of conferences and met a lot of people, and that was part of his journey. And then finally, we put out our CIP Eco program. So this is where, and this is designed for students upon graduation. So we tend to find that students go through CIP Eco, the 2 summer programs. They tend to be a little bit of a funnel for this program. This program, you will apply for it in your last year. And then if you're successful, upon graduation, you receive your first stipend, but you get a stipend to cover you for your first year upon graduation to work full-time on your venture idea. So it's $110,000 that's paid to you as an individual. It's not funds into your company. It's us investing 100% in you. And so that's the idea there. We do also have prize recipients as well. So we have 5 fellowships and 5 awardees. Only 1 person per venture can apply for this program as well. So if you find a co-founder in your journey here at Stanford, that would then be a conversation that you and your co-founder would have as to who may apply for that particular program. Applications open in January for that, and it's a 3-round process. So at the moment we have one of our current fellows is Raj. He's actually in market already, and you'll see some of his products are already in place in different restaurants across San Francisco and the city. For them, it's all about revolutionizing and decarbonizing how we heat people. So I have a QR code here. If you're interested, we'll provide a link after the session as well. But this is just if you'd like to register for any of the information sessions as they become available. We'll be running an information session mid-October to early November for the Impact Founder program. So that's ideal if you're looking to be graduating, in the next year. Given that the majority of people in this room are early stage, you may be more interested in the Eco Say program or the Eco CIP program. We also have the Ecopreneur Circle. So this is a function within Venture Studio. So any graduate student here working on a venture idea can apply to join Venture Studio. It's an online platform with a number of resources available to help people validate and go through that journey. A number of the materials on there are used in Start Garage and a number of classes as well. And there's a big active community on there. So if you're looking for advice in a particular area, you can put a call out and get information there. So yeah, if you're working on a venture already, you can go on and apply for that. If you start working on a venture in 6 months' time, you may then want to apply then. So there's a number of resources through that. Yeah, within the Eco Circle, we have specific resources unique for sustainability-focused ventures. So pitch coaching, specialized advisor sessions, and extra fundraising resources as well. That's a little bit on Ecopreneurship. I'll just quickly put a quick question. What was the name of the program if you want to work on your own venture over the summer? You go as he has. Yes. You get a little prize. Likes free merch. Thanks, everyone.
I did the EcoSci program over the summer. You should definitely do it. And the Venture Studio is a great place to go there. Now I will introduce Jeff. Jeff is the only person I haven't worked together on this panel. So one of my goals is to work with him over this year. Jeff is the program director at the Precourt Institute for Energy. He is also the managing director of the Technology Transfer Program at the Defense Program at Stanford University. He co-instructs one of the university's most prestigious and competitive courses, Hacking for Defense course. Maybe a couple of people have heard that, which leverages the lean startup methodology to address the critical national security, cybersecurity, and energy challenges. His background includes military service as an U.S. Army Ranger. And again, I'm looking forward to learning from Jeff. Thank you. Thanks.
You might help me out. Thanks. Well, thanks for having me today. Appreciate it. Hopefully we've got slides today. But just real quick, if you're a student, would you mind standing up, please? Overwhelmed. Asking you to stand because if you don't take anything away from this talk, I'd like you to take away one key insight here. I've been here for 8 years, and I can tell you that all of you coming here now have an all-access pass to engage anyone in the globe. Anybody on the planet you can reach out to because you have a Stanford.edu account. You laugh, but it's absolutely true. I've seen it in class over and over and over again. You can go ahead and take a seat. One of the interesting things here in Silicon Valley is that people come from all over the world to come and touch the magic of innovation. To come and view it, see it, touch it for a weekend, maybe a week, a month if they're really lucky. So they're tourists effectively. And one of my colleagues, Andrew Milne, has coined a phrase, but they're also tech safari people, and they come in and they bring home trophies, but instead of putting an animal head on their wall, they bring back a product. And what you have the opportunity to do while you're on campus during your time here is you have the opportunity to learn about the processes and immerse yourself in this environment for not a week, not a month, but for the entire duration of your time. So take advantage of it. And the previous discussion and what you'll hear after me, as well as my class and Brian's Tomcat, are fantastic opportunities to leverage everything that Stanford and Silicon Valley has in store for you. My class, so I co-teach with Steve Blank, Joe Felter, Pete Newell, Steve Weinstein, and we do mission-driven problems. It says hacking. I spent a lot of my time demystifying what that means. What we're talking about is problem solving, hacking through all of the noise, and in this case, government bureaucracy, to solve a very real problem. It's a spring quarter class, and the core objective here is we take the lean methodology, all the secret sauce that Stanford startups have made their billions off of, and we focus that into solving a mission-driven problem. So a problem for the government, and it's a real problem that someone feels in the government that ends up being a sponsor. And so same source code as Startup Garage or any of the other classes that you'll learn about, but directed specifically at a mission-driven problem. And so this class is for those wishing to have an impact, focused on having an impact. And if you're looking for your standard class, this is not for you. Like I said, I've been here for 8 years. To say I'm excited about this class is an understatement. I just launched a book 2 weeks ago. And so really excited to started to develop some techniques, tactics, and procedures over the past couple of years and start to accelerate some of the outputs of the class. So while we're focused on lean, the core thing that we teach our students is to fall in love with the problem, not the solution. So to completely abstract themselves away from a solution, because if you focus on a solution, one solution could only solve maybe a handful of problems. But if you focus deeply in understanding the problem, that could lead to many, many different solutions. So this is our approach. And I just wanted to give you a quick example from Anthro Energy, who came through our class a couple years ago. Anybody heard of Anthro Energy? Yeah, flexible, lightweight lithium ion batteries. They came out of our class. And it started with just 4 people. One thing I want you to take away from this slide are 3 things. One, we've got a diverse set of teams. Usually teams are 4 to 5 people. Undergrad, grads are welcome. We don't just do engineering people on a team, and we don't just do non-engineers on a team, because we found out engineers don't like to talk to people, and part of the requirements of the class are to really engage lots of people, 10 to 15 a week. And so this team did 143. And in doing those, using that all access pass that you have, you're able to create this network and become world leading experts in the field. The last thing and third thing that I want to point out is you have a host of support through Hacking for Defense. You've got a person in the government that's actually working in the government that experiences this problem acutely. 2, we give you an industry mentor or business mentor to help you understand, learn, and apply the lean methods. And then thirdly, we have a government mentor to help you gain access and penetrate into the government ecosystem. And so their problem was pretty simple. Basically, all the Joint Chiefs of Staff wanted them to do was to design a new battery for 1990s era radio that pilots would use when they ejected or crashed. They'd have an emergency radio. And the emergency radio was powered by a really old battery. And the Joint Chiefs came to Stanford and Anthro Energy and said, hey, we need a better battery for this. So Anthro started getting busy immediately. They went out and they did a bunch of interviews and they mapped it out. And they realized, oh, it's not just the pilot we're solving a problem for. We have to be familiar with all these different facets of the problem. And the team did a great job at not building their initial solution before they understood the problem. Because what ended up happening to them as they spoke to people, they heard the thing that entrepreneurs hate the most, or problem solvers. This isn't a problem. Like, hey, I'm a pilot. If I have the chance, I'm going to carry more water or ammunition or food and not a new or different battery. And then another one said, well, actually, this isn't even a problem at all, because when I am planning to go down, I just switch off my radio intermittently, turn it on, phone home, turn it off, and then I can make my battery last for like four to 5 days. So it's not a problem. So Anthro was like, oh man, what do? We had this problem from the Joint Chiefs of Staff in the Pentagon, and now it's no problem at all. What we did, because they focused on the problem and didn't build the battery for this solution, they had some leeway. And they went out and they started to talk to more people. And they quickly realized that Air Force Special Operations Command walk around like turtles, carrying a whole heck of a lot of weight. And because they carry so much weight, they're unable to move. And 30 pounds of that weight are batteries. So Anthro, again, is back at the battery problem. But now it's a little bit different. How can we make it lighter weight? How can we make it easier for them to carry? And one thing that we do with students and teams over the course of the class is we force them to iterate. This is probably the only class at Stanford that likes to wave the flag, that we pride ourselves on students doing half as much work, but getting twice as much learning. And so designing a PowerPoint slide, it took them like 30 minutes to do this, instead of developing a battery or develop anything that would take weeks or longer. And they got lots of great feedback. And what ended up happening was they transitioned from this to that flexible, lightweight, non-combustible lithium ion battery that some of you are familiar with. And they have over $1 million in government funding to do that, as well as commercial. So Anthro Energy was a huge success. It's not our only success. We've been around for 9 years now. This next year will be our 10th spring quarter. And so huge successes, like Capella Space, lots of VC raised, lots of startups that come from it. But coolest thing about this class, in my opinion, we're not in the business of creating startups. We're in the business of teaching lean methods and helping students have an impact, seeing behind the curtain of the government to understand what it looks like to work in the government on national security problems from a range of different organizations. And so, as I was saying earlier, your all access pass, each of you are brilliant because you're Stanford students. But none of you is smarter than the collective intelligence of this room, let alone the collective intelligence of people you can reach out to. So that's what we try to enforce upon you in getting out and talking to people. And so our students have gone all over the world. You get $3,000 in travel funding is in prototyping. They've been to the DMZ in Korea, Japan, Hawaii, Florida, exotic Menlo Park, doing a range of stuff, putting scuba stuff on, seal diving, as well as in the top right, North Carolina, working with Delta Force. So the logistics are pretty simple, but really quickly, one of the top things that questions I get from students is, our class is open to all nationalities. So you're welcome to join. You'll see my email on the last slide. Feel free to hit me up. Spring quarter class, our problems will go on our website in January. You can select from a range of 20 problems. If you have your own problem or your own technology, reach out to me and I can find somebody on the government side to sponsor you. We only accept 8 student teams. We usually get about 15 to apply. And again, lots of interviews, lots of prototyping, and you can get out and see a little bit of the military bases. In terms of problems, we focus on national security. We don't develop weapon systems. We work with the Department of Defense and the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, Space Force, Coast Guard, Homeland Security. We've worked with the Department of Justice, FBI. We've also had lots of State Department problems. One of our teams went to Barbados last year and working on a renewable energy project. And so we run the full gamut to include the VA and intelligence community, CIA, NSA, NGA, all of your 3-letter acronyms that you can think of, we work with and have them. And if you have leads yourself, or if you know somebody who knows somebody that might have a problem and you want to work on it, again, come to me. I'm going to be sourcing problems for the next couple of weeks. And I encourage you, January, problems will go up on our website. Don't let that deter you if you have an idea. If you have a technology, if you're working in a lab, if your PI, your faculty member, or your PhD advisor has a technology and you want to work with it, then go for it. None of our problems are open or are secretive. There's no cleared problems. It's all open source. All of the IP that you develop is open sourced. And so please come with any problems, come with all of your enthusiasm, and everyone's welcome here. Spring Hacking for Defense, that's my email address, JM Decker. And we look forward to seeing you there.
So David and I have worked on the Stanford Climate Ventures class last year. I have learned so much, and I can also resonate with the Stanford email address. I can't just tell you how much more response you can get out of that email in comparison to your personal email. So David is an adjunct professor in energy resources engineering, a research fellow at Saylor Taylor Center for Energy Policy and Finance, and a partner at Coman. However, he is best known as the executive director of this most famous class, Stanford Climate Ventures, and then where I had the privilege of working with him. He is also a 2-time Stanford grad, receiving his bachelor in management science and engineering and master's from energy resources and engineering. I will leave the word to him to explain Stanford Climate Ventures.
All right, thank you. And if you're anything like me, you probably at this point would rather go to lunch than hear me talk. So I'm going to try to keep this as tight as possible. So Stanford Climate Ventures, it is a entrepreneurship-based class. We've been running it for about 8 years now. It looked very different 8 years ago, and it's evolved, and it continues to evolve. But just to give an idea of some of the things that have come from the class, over the last 8 years, we've had more than 90 projects, almost 100 projects. About half of those have turned into companies that have raised over $1 billion. And what excites me the most is that every single one of these companies was started from nothing more than where you guys are sitting right now. And I'm just thinking about a couple of these faces are going to be on my slide next year. To highlight one, just to give an idea, Fervo Energy came out of our class. Tim Latimer, the founder, took the class in 2017. Actually first took it on as not a team lead, but on a different project team, working on something entirely different, while in the back of his mind, kind of working on this idea of using fracking horizontal drilling techniques for geothermal, which is what he ended up taking through the class and turning into Fervo Energy, which raised 400 million, but that's out of date. Actually, on Tuesday, they announced that they are 10 years ahead of all of the DOE and NREL projections for geothermal, and that they also raised a $100 million debt facility to go build a first of a kind project. And oftentimes the highlights are around the companies, but building companies is not the point of the class. And when I said that half of the projects turn into companies, the numbers of who actually starts these companies out of the class is even smaller. Only about one person on each project team. So basically like 5% of our students end up starting companies right out of the class. What it's more about is giving everybody the playbook and the network to be able to either do something entrepreneurially or bring that mindset to whatever you go do next. So I like to highlight all the people that didn't start companies or didn't start them right away, because that's really what it's about. And so we've got tons of these. These are all alumni that come back to everything. And more than anything, we want to give you guys the access to the network of people. Like Jeff said, you do have a superpower in being able to reach out to anybody you want, but we want to surround you with all of the people that you're going to be interacting with for the next 30 years of your career. And then we want to give you just we've got a lot of people around the class that have done this for their entire lives. And we want to give you some of those lessons so you don't pay the same idiot tax that we all had to over and over again. So to give a little bit of an idea of where it came from, Dave Danielson started the class. Dave is a legend. He first started, he was a material science PhD at MIT, where he basically was getting a bunch of people together to just talk about energy over beers at the Muddy Charles pub. That led to the MIT Energy Club, which today has like 5,000 members and is the biggest college climate and energy ecosystem out there. He then took that to the DOE, where he got chosen to go be the head of the EERE, the Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy Department, and was assistant undersecretary to Steve Chu while he was there, and kind of was just in charge of who do we need around the table to be working on the hardest problems in energy. And that's what he then brought to Stanford. And so that's sort of the origins of the class and the DNA that it's all built on, of just how can we go find all the hardest problems and get all of the best people around it working on it together. And so the things that we kind of pride ourselves on are first, that community of bringing everyone together. The struggle, this class is hard and a lot of work, but that's where all of the real world experience comes from. We want really like well-rounded groups of people working on things together. And we don't necessarily care if it's the cool thing. We want it to be whatever you're most focused on and want to go solve. I'll skip this slide because I kind of simplified it down to, we just want to give you a playbook and all of the connections and people that you'll want to be around. There's 4 of us that teach the class. Dave, I already mentioned, aside from everything I already said, he's probably the best climate investor in the world. He's one of the managing partners at Breakthrough Energy. You've heard of Form Energy, Fervo Energy, Redwood Materials, Lilac, basically any of the big climate winners. He was their first investor. Joel and I run a fund together doing early stage investing. And then Jane, you've probably already heard from, but she's as legendary as they come in this space. And all we want to do is open up our networks to you and be able to get you in touch with whoever you want. That's sort of the beauty of the class. You'll also be doing 100+ discovery calls, similar to how Jeff said for hacking. And that basically just comes through our network and everybody we can try to put you in touch with. And so our class is divided into two structures. One is the fall, and the fall is really just about idea generation. And so we'll bring in, it's a seminar series where we're bringing in experts in different verticals of climate to kind of say, this is the state of this vertical. This is who's working on really cool new problems and solutions. And here's where nobody's doing anything. And if I was a group of smart Stanford students, I would go try to figure out this problem. And so just an idea of some of the people that we have coming. We've got Tom Ferguson focused on water. We've got Turner Caldwell, who was at Tesla, focused on kind of minerals and mining materials. Shale Khan, Katie McDonald, who's kind of the expert in climate adaptation, coming to give one. So anyway, just a set of ideas of the kind of people that we're bringing in to spur ideas for potential projects that we'll do in the winter and spring. And the projects in winter and spring don't have to do anything with these. We just want to give you guys some big problems that we don't think enough people are focused on. But more than anything, we want projects around a problem that just fires you up and keeps you up at night. And so, as I said, in winter and spring, we take 6 project teams in each quarter, based around a particular problem that they're trying to solve. It comes in at all different stages. And there's kind of 3 types of people that are on each of those. One is someone who's usually the project team lead, the lead on the application, who says, this is the problem I want to do. Here's what I've already kind of done to understand the problem. Here's the people that I'm bringing onto it. There's people who sort of know that they're going to want to go lead a project, but don't know exactly what it's going to be yet. And they'll kind of join one of those teams either early on or throughout it. And then there's people who just want to be part of the ecosystem and help it, or maybe learn a particular skill set, learn how to go do a techno-economic analysis, learn how to go do customer discovery calls, whatever it might be. And so we normally take teams of about 6 to 8 people on each of these. And the applications will, for the winter, will come out in like November. And in the fall, we really just want everybody working on kind of thinking of ideas together to go make those applications. And then once you're in the class, we also have mentors who are dedicated to each project team. And they are people who have, similar to the teaching team, done this for their whole careers. And they sit down with each of the project teams for at least an hour a week, usually more because they're generous and awesome people, to say, hey, what are you not thinking of? What's the next hurdle you need to go figure out? Who do we need to put you in touch with so that you can go ask the right questions and learn from those people? So this is just an example of some of our mentors. I know a few of them are coming back. Actually, Brock's giving one of the fall quarter talks too on maritime and ocean white spaces. And then as far as the content for the winter and spring, there's a couple of core things that the teaching team teaches that are on the left. It's sort of just the 101, the things that, like I said, we've seen a million times. But more importantly, we bring in a bunch of founders, either the legendary ones like Matteo Jaramillo, one of the founders of Tesla Energy and now Reform Energy, to alumni like Cody Finke, who started Brimstone Energy, which is a decarbonized cement company. To kind of give the full spectrum of like, here's what I have learned and here's what it's really like when you're building these things. To people like Caroline Spears, who are experts in policy, to kind of give like the additional pieces of the toolkit for building in this space. Like I said, the most important part about the class is that it is just a network of people and people that keep coming back, keep supporting each other. And so we do a lot of social events for the class that are just intended to make it a low stakes way to get to meet everybody else that's thinking about similar ideas to you, to brainstorm different things, to meet people, to meet alumni, to meet kind of friends of the ecosystem and program. And so the first one will be week 1, September 25th, if that's the Wednesday, at the Dutch Goose. That's sort of our place where we always do these. And we just try to get as many people together as we can. And I've seen project teams form there. I have seen people find their co-founders. I have seen people find their next investor, like whatever it is you're looking to do. And even if you just are looking for something to do on a Wednesday night, it's a great thing to do. So I would say, please come join that. We're looking for as many as many people to be a part of the fun as we can. And so that is it for me. I will take questions later. I think, I just got that lined up, and then I'll be around for lunch and also at Jane's house tonight. So thank you guys.
I actually think we have some time to take a few questions since Jeff and David are here. I think Adelaide had to run.
Thank you both very much for such informative presentations. Something I was wondering specifically for you is that I see that there's a lot of these hacking for X type of class, I guess hacking climate, hacking for defense, and I was wondering, is the recommendation that people would choose only one of those classes to take? I guess there's quite a bit of overlap in most like a universal philosophy of a specific industry, or if someone's interested in multiple areas, can be valuable to pursue multiple. Same thing with, I guess, ventures class as well, when philosophy is often the same across the different industries.
And so for all the hacking classes, the source code is the lean startup methodology. So whether you're thinking about lean launchpad, hacking for defense, hacking for climate and sustainability, you'll learn that. Even though you're learning it for climate or defense or national security problem or building your own business, that ports over to the commercial space or the federal space or any kind of problem. So the problems are obviously a little different, where sustainability and climate are focused on just that. That's more of a broader student teams generate more of a broader understanding and more of like a policy output. Whereas H4A, we're really trying to get students to write that policy or create that product or solution to move the needle.
Yeah, and then I'd say the beauty of Stanford is there's so many different classes where you can work on this, and the most common thing is that you take multiple of them. And we've seen tons take hacking for climate and then take SCV, or take SCV and then do startup garage and kind of layer it on, because in 3 months you're not going to get, if you actually want to go start something in 3 months, you're not going to get there, right? It's a long process, and Stanford's really good about letting you use time while you're here to do that in different ways.
The one thing I'll piggyback on is that last I checked, there are 11 project-based courses. Everyone gives you a little bit different a piece of the puzzle, but you could very significantly leverage each of those and plot your course through Stanford and effectively use all these classes as an accelerator for an idea.